Hello, before we get started with this episode, I need to tell you about a new feature which I'm starting. Kids versus adults. Do you think that you've got good football knowledge? Do you think that you could beat one of your adults in a Football for Kids quiz? I'm looking for kids and adults who want to take part in my new feature, Kids versus Adults. If you can convince an adult to go up against you, then ask the adult to send an email to footballforkidspodcast@gmail.com. And then I will choose 10 of you at random to take part. The showdown will happen via Zoom on a video call. It will be recorded and then released as an episode. So you and your adult must be happy for it to be recorded and released before you decide to enter. Here's the really fun bits. If you, the kid, wins the quiz, then your adult has to do a forfeit. It could be something like buying you the biggest bag of sweets in the supermarket. It could be letting you stay up late to watch some football. It's down to you and your adult to decide. If the adult wins, well, then you've got to do something for them. It could be washing their car. It could be doing the washing up. Again, it's down to you and your adult to decide. Lastly, I will be tracking the points of you and your adult, and the pair who get the first and second most points in the 10 quizzes will go up against each other in a 2-on-2 finale. There's also a prize up for grabs. So, what are you waiting for? Convince your adults and get them to send an email to footballforkidspodcast@gmail.com. Hello and welcome to the Football for Kids podcast with me, Darren Rees. In this episode, we're going to be speaking about the Liverpool manager, Jürgen Klopp. Before we do that, we've got a shout out to do and a big happy birthday. The shout out goes to Stanley from Walthamstow, who plays for KDWFC. Stan is football bonkers and he loves Liverpool. I'm also told that Stan is quite a goalie and he's been involved in some incredible matches recently. His team had an amazing 10-1 win the other day and also another game which was 3-3, but it was said to be one of the most thrilling, nail-biting matches of football in a long time. And Stan was unbelievable in goal. Maybe, one day, Stan, you'll be in goal for Liverpool, just like Alisson Becker. A huge shout out goes to you, from me and all of your KDW teammates. I hope you enjoyed this episode on the great Liverpool manager himself, Jürgen Klopp. I also need to say a very happy birthday to Nolan, who will be 5 on the 11th of January. He supports Arsenal and his favourite players are Saka, Messi and Mbappe. A massive happy birthday to you, Nolan, on the 11th of January, and I hope that you have a really wonderful day. And also, a massive shout out to your brother Cooper. I hope that you both really enjoy this episode. Right then, it's time to get into the episode about Jürgen Klopp. Jürgen Norbert Klopp was born in Stuttgart, Germany in 1967. Jürgen was born into a footballing family as his father Norbert was a goalkeeper. Jürgen also had 2 older sisters and he grew up in the beautiful countryside in Germany. Jürgen kicked things off with football from a young age. At just 5 years old, he started to play with his first team, which was a team in Germany called FC Glatten. And he went on to play for a series of other small German football clubs in his youth days. It wasn't just football that was on a young Jürgen Klopp's mind though, as he wanted to become a doctor. He always liked the idea of making people better. He liked helping people. Jürgen's parents supported him with his football and would drive 20 miles to training and then 20 miles back to ensure that he didn't miss out, and because they knew how important his development was. That's 40 miles of driving for every training session. Let me tell you, that's a long old way. It was said that Norbert, Jürgen's father, was the man who kept Jürgen's feet on the ground. He made sure that he focused on the small things to ensure small improvements every game and every day. Jürgen continued playing football and stayed living in his family home until he was around 20 years old. Jürgen was also interested in education, and he knew that even though he enjoyed his football, he also had an enjoyment for learning, and he ended up doing a sports business degree in university. At age 23, Jürgen signed with the German club Mainz, where he would play well over 300 games and score over 50 fantastic goals. Jürgen stayed at the club as a player for around 11 years, and then he became the manager of the club. When Mainz were taken over by Klopp, they weren't doing great at all. They were in the relegation zone and were in desperate need of a leader, someone who really knew how to play football, tactics, experience, and an unrivaled passion for the beautiful game. Klopp was that man. And at the end of the season, Klopp had saved the club from relegation. At this point, the club were in the second division of the Bundesliga. In Klopp's following season, he worked wonders. And he worked wonders without any money to buy any new players or to get anyone really experienced. He managed them to the point that they were in touching distance of promotion. Quite incredible when they were almost certainly going down before he took over. The season after this was even closer, as again they were in touching distance of being promoted into the German top division, but they missed out purely on goal difference. Although it was heartbreaking stuff for the fans, they could see the magic that Klopp was working, and it couldn't be long before they would be promoted. Klopp has always been a man of more than just football talent. He knows how to inspire people and keep them on board. When they didn't get their promotions, they needed someone to inspire them. Klopp would take to the mic and address the fans and players with motivational words. He not only had the players believing in him, but he had the fans on side too. In the following season, Jürgen Klopp got Mainz promoted. At last, they had done it, and Klopp was a very liked man by the supporters. Klopp was a man of the people and was known to go into the pub with the fans and drink beer with them. In 2008, it was time for Klopp to move on. And when that time came, the time for him to say goodbye to the club where he spent so many years, both as a player and a manager, 30,000 of the fans came out to wave him off. A legend of the club. In the 2008-2009 season, Jürgen Klopp would take over Borussia Dortmund. Dortmund's previous season didn't go great. In fact, they finished a miserable 13th position, which, in the Bundesliga, is free from relegation. Klopp got to business in his first season, and after just one season in charge, he took them from 16th to finishing 6th, and being a team which other teams feared going to. The following season was better yet again, as Dortmund finished 5th. In the season after that, Klopp's Dortmund became the Bundesliga champions for the first time in 8 seasons. The season after that, Klopp had Dortmund winning the league yet again. Not only was he winning the league for the first time in years, but he went on to win the German Super Cup and made it to the 2013 Champions League final at Wembley Stadium, but they were beaten by their bitter rivals Bayern Munich by 1 goal. Klopp wasn't known for being the most talented player, but he was certainly showing his skills and talent in managing football teams. In 2015, Klopp was off to his 3rd club as a manager, and for the first time ever, he would be leaving Germany, and he joined Liverpool in England. Now, Liverpool fans know, and to be fair, most of the footballing world are willing to accept, that Liverpool are more than a club. It's a community, a club rich in history, a club full of good and bad times, a club that stick together, and a club of the people. Jürgen had already proven that he was a man of the people at Mainz, and at Borussia Dortmund as well. In Klopp's first season with the club, he took them to the League Cup final, but they came second to Manchester City, who beat them on penalties at Wembley. In the same season, he took them to the Europa Cup final, but again, they couldn't quite get the job done. But what we know about Klopp is that he works away until he gets there, because hard work always pays off in the end. In 2017, Klopp was working his magic and got Liverpool to the Champions League final, where they would play Real Madrid but would end up losing 3-1. Jürgen Klopp kept pushing, kept working his magic and kept being a person of the people. He was winning the fans over, inspiring the players and certainly doing great things. In the following season, Klopp would take Liverpool to their second Champions League final in 2 years. This time, they would go on to win it, beating Tottenham in an all-English showdown in Madrid. In the season after that, Liverpool went on to win the Premier League for the first time ever, and the Premier League started all the way back in 1992. So not only did he make history for Liverpool that year, but he made history for Germany, as he was the first German manager to ever win the Premier League. Klopp was cementing his name in the English football history books. Since then, he's won the Champions League again and won the prestigious FA Cup. Klopp has managed some of the greatest players in the world since starting at Liverpool. Mo Salah, Sadio Mane, Roberto Firmino, Virgil van Dijk, Alisson Becker and many, many others. He hasn't just managed these players though, he's got the best out of them. He's found out how to help them. Remember what we said about him wanting to be a doctor? Because he wanted to help people. Well, he didn't make it as a doctor, but you could say he's a bit of a football doctor. Jürgen Klopp has become one of the world's best football managers. He's a person of the people, and he's someone who will be remembered forever in this beautiful game. I hope that you've enjoyed listening and learning about the legendary Jürgen Klopp and all of his wonderful achievements. So remember, if you know someone who loves football just as much as you do, then please tell them about Football for Kids. And whether you're playing football soon, watching it on the telly or pitch side, I hope that you enjoy the game. See you next time.